Good morning, good morning. January 26, 2023. Tiger drawing. Looking great. I'm on the wrong brush. That's all good. Everything's all good. Tend to say that a lot around here. Okay, so today is day 3. Day 3 for drawing this tiger. And just a reminder, kind of what we're doing here, if you're joining the stream for the first time. After a like 3-day lengthy process, we decided a particular. Let me zoom out so you can see, and then I'll turn off some layers. This is going to be our composition. Yeah, it's really rough because this was pulled from a very small image that we worked up, a thumbnail. This is going to be our composition. And then I determined that I really wanted to have a Sumatran tiger rather than a Siberian tiger. The one we were drawing before was a Siberian tiger. Actually, this is the image of the body that we'll work from. That's a Siberian tiger. And it's important that I create a Sumatran tiger because they are critically endangered species. And as we're trying to show some, hey, good morning, thinker. As we're trying to show some perseverance and be like the tiger that never gives up, we also want to bring some awareness to tiger conservation. I have to talk to my wife about what we can do as people to help out tigers without just giving money. Usually that's the solution. Most of the time people give money. Helpful, yes, but there's other things we can do as well. I will chat with her about that. She will know the best route. Okay, so yesterday I really I did a bunch of outlining here of all the different dark shapes that I saw within the tiger themselves, of different little, they're not really stripes when they're on the head mainly, they're just a lot of awesome looking shapes. Talk about wonderful shape language. And we're going to continue with the same today until I get this head figured out. But first I want to go through and kind of fill in some of these shapes. I see what I did wrong up here. I have some incorrect shapes. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I kind of want it to be, especially. Yeah, I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I just really like the shapes that are happening around here. Actually, that worked better when I cut all that off. Another great thing about digital is the ability to just cut out things on different layers. It seems to me that there's a few advantages of digital that provide, 90% of the reason why digital is mostly helpful. Well, not mostly helpful, but very helpful. And honestly, the more I work with it, it's like it deals better with mistakes than anything. Many people, and I've said this many times before, that digital is a lot faster. But maybe I should question that. I always tend to want to question these things as just dead or touted all over the place. I really need to remove that song. It's just distracting. Yeah, it doesn't work with this stream. Not sure why I put it in there. So the ability to have multiple layers is really important because then you can separate what you do and affect it differently, affect it separately in some way. On any traditional media, you can't really do that. The only thing that comes close is, with illustration decades ago, they used friskets. And I literally only know this because I forget what video I was watching about it, but they were talking about how awesome digital is because having to use those friskets was really difficult. Control Z, you put something down, you can remove it like in an instant. Being able to select something and then move it on the canvas easy. So I could select this eye and move it down like half an inch if I wanted to. And that's 2 out of 3 examples, or 2 out of those 3 examples were based in, a mistake that was made. I'm trying to think of other things within digital that make it a lot faster. Oh, the ability to have infinite paint. Not having to go back and get more paint. Infinite brushes. To paint anywhere. Like if you're on a plane, iPad and Apple Pencil, it's perfect. Thinker says, perseverance has a major time element for me. I wonder if tigers turn grayer as they get older. I'm not sure on that. I know I've seen some photos. I've looked at a lot of photos of tigers. And there's a few of them. There's one that I saw that had cataracts. You could tell that right away. So, possibly an older tiger. I don't think younger tigers would develop cataracts, but the other characteristics that I noticed along with that tiger was discoloration in the muzzle. I think it's very similar to dogs, honestly. If you see a really old dog, they get kind of gray, very gray around the muzzle. And they get a lot thinner as they get older, losing a lot of muscle mass. A lot of times you would only see that happen, and this is, I'm speculating here from, my minimal knowledge from a zoo professional as we've talked over the few decades we've been married. But you wouldn't see that, an aged tiger in the wild very often. If you did, there'd be a lot of luck involved. Where you would mostly see, aged tigers would be in zoos because they live a lot longer in zoos. They're provided the best health care, the best food, 24/7 looking after, But in the wild, it's like, go, fend for yourself, sink or swim, feast or famine kind of thing all the time. I don't know, Thinker. Maybe look up some images on Google and let me know what you find out. Actually, it'd be really cool. I guess you could just easily search for, what do older tigers look like? With the wealth of information that we have out there today. So I'm trying not to go too dark with what I'm filling in here. Oh, would perseverance be better captured if your tiger showed some signs of age? Possibly. And I think you're right. I think it seemed like the first question was more of a hint than anything now that I think about it. I'm not intelligent enough to grab the hint. Got to spell it out. Yeah, I'm not so certain on that. But you're right. I think, perseverance, there is a big time element involved. I'm racking my brain right now as I'm drawing this to try and think of if there's an example of perseverance where time isn't involved. Let me fill in the rest of these dark lines that I created yesterday, and then we'll take a look at it. One thing I never do. So Control spacebar lets you zoom in and out, but Shift spacebar lets you rotate. And this is so foreign to me. I mean, because most of the time I'm drawing or painting on a canvas. So it's, you can't do this unless you're Chuck Close. But it's really helpful to get, if you don't have if you can't get your arm in a certain position to do a line in a certain way, rotating your whole canvas helps that. But I don't like it. Put it all in the wrong direction. So I'm just going to stick with this. I'm contorted a little bit here, but I think it's fine. Yeah, I could probably fill these in faster with just big blocks of color, but I really enjoy the texture. And the look of, really looking at the form. Seems like all the hairs on the tiger's head are pointing you to, indications of how the forms go. Let's see, I got this wrong. I can cut out just a piece of it though. There's this really amazing shape up here. Comes down this way. It's like a crown on the top of the skull. Of course, my shape doesn't match up exactly with what I have, but that's okay, like I always say. I'm not gonna worry about that too much. Okay, don't like that line now. Yeah, quiet stream today. Sorry, guys. Just really focusing on this. Maybe it's good. Oh, one thing that I can talk about today after I take a drink of tea. Today is January 26, 2023. Today is the 10-year anniversary for my daily art. I really need to do a video about it. So what I mean about that is today is, it's actually not 3,650, 3,652 days straight, or 53. Well, I have it on my website as 3,653, which either I'm, because I manually calculate this for 10 years straight. So I'm one off. So I don't feel too bad about that. I'm only one off. Either I'm one off or there's something with counting the day that you start. And then also today. So 10 years, guys. 10 years straight. It's actually huge for me. I remember when I got started on this, it basically happened that I hadn't done art for 5 years straight, at nothing. Was not really an artist anymore. Couldn't call myself an artist because I wasn't doing it. It was not my repeated beingness. See one of my previous videos about you are what you do. And I realized that if I didn't get started again, that I probably wouldn't be doing it the rest of my life. And there would be a huge amount of regret there. And I had mulled it over for days and days. I'm like, oh man, I need to be an artist, Then a couple things kind of happened in succession. One was I watched this movie called Jiro Dreams of Sushi, which is an amazing movie about a master sushi chef in Japan, I believe. And what struck me about that was, someone's dedication to the craft to just master what they have. And just to give you an indication, it's like, oh, who cares about sushi? Well, the only 4 Michelin star sushi restaurant on the planet, like no one else has ever done that, gives you an idea of the dedication that it takes. And that kind of dedication, that perseverance, you see what I did there? That perseverance is what really struck me. And I was looking at the art at the time, and then one day I saw a digital painting by an artist. I can't remember their name, but it's on the post. It's on one of the very first posts on my website 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, day over 10 years ago. And then the next day I got out my painting supplies, which, were dusty and had stuff all over them. I don't think I had to rummage and find them. I had to clean them up because everything had just kind of dried up and it was terrible. And then I just got started painting. But I also got practical with it. Because at that point, after I saw that painting, that digital painting, which 10 years ago, digital painting wasn't what it was today. After I saw the digital painting, I was like, I need to do art for the rest of my life. The problem that I had before, well, every day for the rest of my life, because the problems I had before were starting and stopping. You know, you go gung-ho on the days when you have time, and then afterwards you stop and you don't do anything forever. And I still hear that from so many artists now. Oh, I haven't done it in forever. Yeah, I got to it, but then, you know, life got in the way. And I said, well, life is going to get in the way. I can't say I'm going to be a hermit and I'm just going to sit in a studio all day and just paint. Things are going to happen. You're going to want to go outside. You want to go, you know, out to eat with your wife. You're going to want to go fly home to see the family. You're going to get sick. You're going to need a kidney transplant, which happened to me. Right? So you got to get practical with it. You can't just say, I'm going to do a painting. I'm going to finish a painting every single day. There's an artist out there, I forget what her name is. Amazing 12-inch by 12-inch paintings that she does a lot of. And I think she goes on this idea of daily painting. Oh, there is another artist out there that I was influenced by about daily painting. But neither one of them did it daily. Because they were under this understanding that if they called it daily painting, they needed to create a painting daily. And I was like, well, that's just not sustainable. And I want something sustainable. So I said, okay, what would make this sustainable? I would need to prepare for the worst. Right at the beginning, what is the worst possible thing? Or the hardest day? You could think about your hardest day that you've had so far, or possible hardest days that you can have in the future. And then you set a goal for those days, a minimum. I always called it a minimum. And this is before I read all kinds of books on personal development, which they talk about this all the time. So I set a minimum of 30 minutes of something every single day, no matter what. No matter what. Don't feel like it? 30 minutes. In the hospital? 30 minutes. On a plane? 3 a.m. in the morning? 30 minutes. I felt like that was achievable. And it has been. Oh, it looks like my stream is breaking up. So I set 30 minutes every day. And the other thing that I did, because when I was learning art, one of the most annoying things that I found was that you only see finished works all the time. Go to a museum, those little plaques on the wall, it doesn't tell you how long they spent on the art. It doesn't tell you how many do-overs they've done. It'll tell you, you know, when they lived, when they were born, and when they died, but it doesn't tell you, you know, was this the 500th painting that they've ever done or the 5th? I was annoyed by that, you know. As an artist, when you're trying to learn things, and it's why many people on YouTube are looking at artists actually working, is because when you go to a gallery or a museum, you don't see the work in progress. And you can gain most of your information from works in progress. So I wanted to give that to everyone. If I was going to commit to this, I attached it to something bigger than myself as well. That's another way to keep motivated. So I said, okay, I'm going to log it every single day. And with the purpose of showing others what it takes to get to a certain point. For a Joe Schmo like me that's not very intelligent, doesn't have much talent, has a full-time job and just needs to work hard at it as much as he can for 10 years straight, through the good times and the bad times. And that's what I'm hopefully showing on my website. You know, and as I talk about it, one of the other things that I realized that I did that is essential for habit creation is logging your habits. It's not really essential, actually. You don't need to log your habits, but it's helpful for motivating. For motivating you to keep going, for motivating to that perseverance. Because once you get, I mean, heck, when I got to 100 days, I was like, okay, I'm not breaking this streak. You know, 300 days, it was like, oh, heck no, I'm getting up, I'm staying up late, whatever I need to do. 500 days, yeah. It's kind of ratcheting up every single time I would look at it. It was growing. Can't stop now. And now I have 3,653 days behind me. And art is so much part of my life now because of that. That it's almost impossible not to do something. And I've built my life around it in a lot of ways. I've made a lot of sacrifices so that I could get this, I could get the art in a lot of times. But when you have a dream, you go for it, just like this tiger. Like if you told me back in the day, right, you can start your artwork again. I know it's your dream and all that. I know it's your dream to be, at least a working artist for the rest of your life. But you only have a 4% chance of success. I would say, okay, cool, let's keep going. Do it anyways. Because when it's your dream, you really don't have a choice. Like this, I know I will feel fulfillment at the end of my life if I accomplish this. I think most people would do anything for that fulfillment. I haven't forgot about the images thinker. We'll look at them in a moment. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a video about what I've learned. It had to be simple. What is the 5 things or 3 things that were most important that I learned from doing art every single day for 10 years straight. I think I already went over them. Setting the minimum is number 1, which can also be said as, lowering your criteria, not expectations, lowering criteria. Basically, lowering criteria for your success. Too often we look at society as the measurement for what our success should be, and then we set these goals that are just not us right now, which is very poignant right now if you're talking about resolutions right after the new year. We have lots of people that always are motivated at the new year, and usually they're surrounding weight loss and things like this, which is great. But then there's too many there's the criteria is kind of out of the ballpark, right? So setting a minimum. Ooh, here's another one. Planning for longevity. So you plan for the long term, not, 6 months down the road, not a year down the road, but the rest of your life. Oh, that sounds like too much. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's just too much, Chris. You can't ask anybody to do that. Yeah, you can. If it's your dream, go for it. Don't let anybody hold you back, tell you that, no, that's, maybe let up a little bit. Maybe you're going too hard. Maybe this, maybe that. No. Do what you can to get you there. Do what's right for you, what feels right for you. But keep it practical. Plan for that long term. It's such a combination of planning for the long term, but also, having that minimum and that plan for today, whatever may happen. But if you ultimately, if you plan for the long term, if you say, this is where I want to reach, but let me get practical about it and say, let me break this down into years, months, weeks, and days, and determine what you need to do through all that amount of time that will ultimately get you there, then all you have to do is just execute every day. So you say, okay, this is my dream. This is X. This is what I want to get to. Okay, fine. That's wonderful. What do you need to do? And like your dream is 10 years out. What do you need to accomplish in 5 years to be on the way? To be halfway there? What do you need to accomplish? Okay, great. Write that down. And then, all right, what do you need to accomplish in 2 years to get to that mark? To get to the to get to that mark, to be halfway to the 5-year point. Great, write that down. Okay, 1 year, write that down. 1 month, write that down. 1 week, write it down. Today, what do you need to do today? And then you'll find like, oh, well, most of what I need to do is very repetitive. It's like, I just need to show up and draw and paint every day and keep learning. Yeah. And this will be realized, with some other things kind of thrown into there, obviously. Okay, doing a little bit of cleanup here. Keeping it light, just like the music. But I like how we've increased the kind of mane of this tiger. It's not as huge as a lion's mane, but it's got a lot of interest to it. That's really going to show tremendously on that grayish green background. Okay, let's look at what aged tigers look like. Google is your friend. What do old tigers look like? Or maybe, how do tigers age? Yeah, actually, this is one return. A tiger in the wild can live up to 15 years in captivity. Their lifespan is about 20 to 26 years. So an extra 10 years on average on that. There could be some really awful, as I see some awful imagery on here. I'm going to move this off the stream so that I can curate some of these images. Okay, I'm just going to do a search for old tiger. mean, with the exception of this image, of course, this is the first few returns. Bengal tiger at Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay, has died. Okay. Poor tiger. Died of old age, I'm sure. Probably. Okay, this tiger is overweight. 14-year-old tiger. So 14-year-old got some kind of disease. That's a very old looking tiger. Lost an eye. Oh, Louisville Zoo. Actually, I was born in Louisville, Kentucky. From what I'm seeing on all these returns, whether these are really, this says 12-year-old tiger. Okay, Amur tiger is the same as Sumatran tiger, by the way. I talked with my wife about that, and this is one thing she said is, like, usually you'll hear Amur tiger before you hear Sumatran tiger, as far as like the naming convention. 16-year-old tiger. See, so there is some discoloration in the nose that happens. I'm gonna do old Amur tiger. Okay, they're in the snow. It could be in a zoo. And we're not sure, of the age of the tiger with the images as well. I'm not seeing any real specific signs, except for maybe a little bit more white around the head. But again, I'm not, I would have to really research and make sure that the images that I'm seeing are of the tiger at that age. Because a lot of times the tiger will die in a zoo, and the image that is given is maybe of years before. See, that says young Amur tiger. Actually, that's really interesting. This looks like an old tiger. What makes this tiger look older than the one that we're drawing? I think the first thing that stands out is the scruff around the is not as it's a bit more scruffy. I was trying to figure out a way to describe that a bit better, but yeah, a bit more scruffy around the mane here. What other characteristics? Maybe a thinness, more of a thinness underneath the eyes in the jowl region, possibly. That's interesting. Let me see if I can save this. Oh. Rare Sumatran tiger dies at Point Defiance Zoo. We're right next to Point Defiance Zoo. Wonder when that was. Phoenix Zoo's diagnosed with chronic kidney disease. I know all about that. This happens a lot with animals that eat meat exclusively. Cats are... There's an interesting designation for cats. They're solely meat eaters. There's, many animals on the planet that are carnivore, omnivores, that can possibly survive on, plants, right? But cats are not that. They must have nothing but meat, right? They're just plain meat eaters. And if you know anything about kidneys, what wears kidneys down the most is phosphorus, especially phosphorus from animal proteins. Phosphorus is part of protein. I have to watch my protein intake all the time. You get protein through nuts, and I'm a vegetarian too, but I still hit my protein numbers all the time. But you'll see this a lot in cats with kidney disease, and humans. Humans, will, as you age, your kidney function will get low. But cats, especially because they eat nothing but meat, so they get worn down a lot faster. Kidneys just working hard. So the only thing that I'm really seeing is from that one image, that was actually really interesting to see kind of this older tiger, is the scruff around the neck, maybe more prominent whiskers in some way. But I see that even in this tiger looks pretty young and spry. Could be an older tiger. I don't know. Even the nose is not discolored. There's a bit more white kind of happening in some areas. It's almost like this. Here's what I'm seeing. See, I'm anthropomorphizing this tiger here because it looks like a big gray beard, right? Maybe we do that. I mean, I could, it wouldn't be hard to bring that down. Let's see. I'm gonna open that image and I just pulled down. No, not, okay. I opened it in the wrong program. Just totally closed out my other thing. Projects. Tiger painting. Old tiger picture. And we can pretty much hide we could hide this tiger reference here. Okay. We're in a really good position here because actually you could see a lot of scruff on the side of the tiger too, which is interesting. We're in a really good position with how we have the body of this tiger because we could bring a lot of that down. Trying to group these. It's kind of like a grouping of beard, tiger beard. Not drawing every single hair. We don't need to do that. I love the grouping of these, of the mane though. Probably look at this image when we get into actually painting all the hairs, or all the hair. We're not going to do individual hairs. It's part of that kind of that shape language, right? And there's some understanding that needs to be gained from it. So let's really study that. So like on this side we have, and I wonder if my tiger ears are too big. I feel like that left ear is too huge, maybe. Let's do this. Let's layer, transform, mirror horizontally. Tiger head's kind of facing similar direction now. I'll keep thinking about the ears, but for right now, let's focus on these tufts of hair. I'm doing so many lines just to describe one thing. I need to get a bit more efficient with this. Embody my inner illustrator. Which isn't too hard to do that. You just think CSI. So CSI, which is C curves, S curves, and straights. Not the old TV show. I wonder if that TV show's still going. I remember watching it forever ago. That was... I don't know how long ago that was, because we haven't had a TV in forever. Almost 20 years now. So one thing you can do to kind of get an idea of forms is just, instead of focusing on how things are broken up, just outline the whole area. Get that whole initial shape in of this beard. And then I have so many lines going on that I'm gonna have to clean up a lot of this. Doesn't need to be too cleaned up. I just need to see where I'm at. I might be going a bit extreme with this mane, but we can pull it back later. A lot of times I think it's like with a gesture. You go extreme with it at first, and then you pull it back later. I'm gonna move this on a different side so I can see it while I'm drawing, so it's not covering up my hand isn't covering it up. I like this music, or this song. It feels somewhat epic and perseverant, if that's a word. It makes me think about, what movies are out there that describe perseverance in some way. And what music do they use to influence that feeling? Find a soundtrack that fits the emotion that you're trying to describe in your painting and listen to that while you're painting or drawing. Should help. Yeah, I really appreciate your suggestions, Thinker. You say it's interesting how the image shows scruffy orange fur behind the mane. I know, yeah, I was noticing that. Like on the body, there's this scruff that's going on. Now I'm interested in that. What is causing that scruff? Is that age or what's really going on there? I could make this. We can make this a lot easier on ourselves if we just painted or drew what was cool, what looks cool. Because, artists do that a lot anyways, and it's fine, whatever. But like I've said many times before, it's trying to do a bit more than that. It's not just about how cool it looks. It's about the accurate representation of a beautiful animal that is very close to extinction on our planet. I like how in this photo there's a lot of darker shadows that kind of come down. This could be part of the black stripes, but it seems a lot more like shadows to me that are happening. That really accentuate this fur in a lot of ways. Yeah, I always appreciate the suggestions that you bring, Thinker. I could really tell that you think about it. Give it some thought because everything you've suggested that I've tried has enhanced this idea even more. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's another good reason for, I mean, a lesson that I'm kind of learning here is, you know, maybe art shouldn't be done in a bubble. I mean, there's a point when committee-driven art, I think, would be a problem. You would create something that a committee wants, but you really don't want. But there's a difference between that and being open to suggestion and trying new things that you would never think of yourself and expanding, you know, the possibilities. Holy cow, is it already an hour? Here's how you know if you love what you're doing. If you experience time dilation on a regular basis. Time dilation, where you look up and what you thought was 5 minutes was like 20 or 30. This hasn't really felt like an hour at all. I love this dark streak, this stripe that comes down. I have to see if I could find more images of this tiger. I think it was an obituary image, possibly, for the tiger from a zoo. Okay, let's back up a bit and see what we have got. Yeah, I've really blown out that mane a bit, haven't I? Especially on this left side. Gonna rein it back some. I'm gonna do this real quick before we end the stream today. All right, W, please. Thank you. What happened? Why am I no drawing? How did I select that color? Accidentally selected a gray. That happens sometimes. You're like, what happened? Why am I not actually drawing anymore? Oh, I'm on a different layer. Computers are stupid, people. Like, they don't do things on their own. Usually you hit a button accidentally and they do things. And then you don't realize it and you're like, you darn computer, why did you do that? Nope, it was pretty much you. Within, of course, there's some exceptions to that. But 90% of the time, it's my fault. It's such a different tiger than what we started with, isn't it? Yep, I'm anxious to provide real value to this. Value as in light and dark all over the tiger. Okay. I'm going to say that we're pretty much done with the head of the tiger. And the next step is going to be working down the body of the tiger. I'm going to try and do some... oh, Thinker, you may have had a comment, sorry. Looks like his eyes are larger relative to his head. Also, the top of his head seems flatter. Let's see. Yeah, I see what you mean as far as the flatness in the head. There's supposed to be... Let's do an insert here so I can remember this. Backing up and describing that form is more important than getting these details in. It's probably a bit extreme. There's a curve. I mean, with these details, I've lost that curve. I'm trying to figure out the best curve for the center of that forehead. The nose is pretty easy. It goes up this way. We got the forehead, and then probably about right here is where it begins to transition back pretty quickly. So get some better alignment on those stripes. Maybe make them thinner as they go back a bit quicker. As far as the eye size, I'm okay with the size of the eyes, even if they are just a little bit larger. I don't think they're so large that they look distorted. What I am concerned about are these ears. I feel like the ears are a bit too large. Still. Maybe I made that change too extreme. Just a small change. Yeah. And I wonder, if I do another insert here, and I pull out this brush with my dark color, make it big. Actually, no, I don't want that. Let's try an airbrush, a much smaller airbrush. What I'm doing here is I want to see if the eyes look larger because of the lack of value that's happening everywhere else. And so they're getting this kind of like size prominence because of that lack of value. No, I don't think so. Maybe a little bit. Well, the one thing is they are the darkest thing in here right now, right? And what I could do, I could, instead of redrawing these things up here, I could select part of this one. And do a transform. When you transform, if you grab the edge, you can do a distort to it. So you can kind of, really hit a perspective line on that. Make it a little bit thinner on that one. Let's do the next one back. This whole kind of Batman shape here. So we're going to distort that over, probably move it over a little bit and thin it out a lot too. And then also just a small change on this one as well. Yeah, I think that helped out some. I feel like let's get back to that top line that I have up there can actually go away. A lot of times when you're working, like you hear nothing from me right now. It's mostly just a lot of thought. What does this look like? Um, as I'm making adjustments to this, I'm always thinking, is this better? Is this worse? Does that look accurate? Does that look inaccurate? Yeah, I have this feeling that if I, did an insert with a new layer, selected, our dark color on this brush, which I can, on this, I think I need to make this gray darker so that I can actually see my brush size. Still thinking about the eye size, and this is looking really ugly. I'm just doing this really quickly. Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, to me, and it could be different for anyone else watching this, but adding in all of this dark area would be the correct value for all of the stripes, all these blocks of color, has brought the rest of the tiger's head up to the same attention level as the eyes are right now. Eyes are looking big because they are the darkest thing that I've drawn so far. I worked on them and I darkened up the value a lot while I was working on them. Don't look so big now, but I'm deleting that because it was so inaccurate. Okay, 17 minutes over because I'm gonna blame you, Thinker. It's all your fault. No, I have full control over what I do here. Thank you for the suggestions. It's very helpful. Still not super happy with the curve of that forehead. You're right. I think I could really push it back into space a bit better. But definitely I like the addition of the scruffy older look with the bigger tiger mane. Trying to get all of this on the same at once. Yeah. I think it's nice because what we're doing is we're not just focusing on one image and copying directly from one image. It becomes more hours are mine. And actually, it's hours really, because we're all working on this. If we're bouncing ideas around, even if it's just me bouncing ideas around, or you, the artist, and you're alone in the studio, and bringing in more images, more ideas, it becomes more of a painting of you, that's part of you. It isn't just a copy of a photo. And I think that's where the real artistry kind of comes in, definitely. So yeah, looking really good. The next stream will start working down the body of the tiger and getting that all figured out. Not a lot gonna have, well, I take that back, because we do have to deal with a lot of stripes, tiger stripes. So a lot of detail within that, but for the most part, our drawing of the focal point for our composition is done. And everything will point here. Everything else we do within this entire painting will be pointing to the head of this tiger, leading to it in some way, and also trying to illustrate perseverance, never giving up, keep going. And hopefully anybody that watches this stream would be influenced to keep going in their art career, their art journey, and to keep drawing every day, setting those minimums and doing what you can to keep going. And with whatever, not just art, but in life in general. Thank you everyone for this wonderful live stream, and I'm excited to do it again tomorrow, so I will see you